E3 has come and gone. I didn't get to go this year because apparently you need an invitation, and spamming Reggie Fils-Aimé's inbox with emails begging for one isn't a good way to actually get one. But I did watch all the presentations on YouTube, and decided to burden you all with my unwanted opinions. Just a quick warning though, this list contains mostly games from Nintendo and Sony's conferences, as most of the other devs had a bunch of generic shooters with little to no creativity. So without further ado, this is my top 10 games I saw at E3 2016 list. You know what's scary? I used to think that beating up cute animals, trapping them inside balls, and forcing them to fight each other for my own sadistic pleasure was a perfectly okay thing to do. But hey, that's Pokemon for you.
I grew up in a house where we weren't allowed to watch or play Pokemon. So what better games to fill the gaping hole in my childhood with than the newly announced Pokemon Sun and Moon? There really isn't much to talk about in this new entry other than a new set of tools, including being able to see what your most effective move will be, and the ability to see if a trainer is getting ready to attack you. I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want. If you're looking for money, I can tell you I don't have any because I spent it all on potions. But what I do have are a very particular set of Pokemon. Pokemon that I've acquired over a very short time. Pokemon that make me a nightmare for trainers like you. If you let me pass, that will be the end of it. I will not battle you. I will not take your money. But if you don't, I will battle you. I will take your money.
And I will kill you.
Dave, you're holding it upside down. And there's no game in it.
Fans of the franchise will already know this, but the only major difference between two newly released Pokemon games are the legendary Pokemon you see on the cover. My friend Rex and I have a tradition where each of us buys a different version of the game and decide who plays what by flipping a coin. Normally, I only want one out of the two due to favoring its legendary, but I don't really care which one I get this time around because both of Sun and Moon's legendaries look pretty sweet in their own different ways.
Such grand and majestic creatures, running wild and free. It's just a shame I'm going to have to imprison one of them inside a ball and force them to fight for my amusement.
You know who's stealthy? Not me. I can't step without making a sound. Heck, I can't even keep a straight face. Thankfully, when it comes to stealth in video games, I don't have to worry about those things. I love it when games allow the use of a stealth mechanic to achieve certain goals.
A stealth mechanic that doesn't suck, that is.
So it only makes sense that when a game is built around this delicate art, I'd be excited to play it. And it's for this reason that Dishonored II has stolen the number 9 spot. I've never actually played Dishonored before and wasn't particularly interested in it, to be honest. But after seeing all the different tools and strategies for stealth and assassination that Dishonored 2 has to offer, I decided, hey, maybe I won't suck at this stealth game. I probably will, though. Question. What do you do after you've punched Poseidon, ripped Helios' head off, electrocuted Hephaestus, accidentally stabbed Athena, and nuked Zeus? Well, according to Kratos, you start a family. At number 7, we have the newest entry in yet another franchise I've never touched before. God of War. Unlike Dishonored, I was actually quite interested in the God of War franchise, but didn't have the proper console to play it on until recently. That being said, it looks like the series is making a pretty drastic change gameplay-wise, switching from a linear hack and slash to a more open world with Dark Soulsy combat. And it looks awesome. The battles seem more strategic, the graphics look more detailed, and Kratos has a beard that rivals that of the completionist. The only question that I'm left with is, what role will his son play in this new title? A damsel in distress to drive Kratos into another genocidal rage? Or something more?
Unfortunately, most people seem to be rather negative about all the superhero movies Marvel's been dishing out lately. I, on the other hand, am very happy about it.
And I'm even happier about the new SpiderMan game that's just been announced for the PS4. There really isn't that much to say about this new title because they've only just announced it. But even so, I can't wait to web swing through the city, beating up bad guys, smashing people's windows in the name of justice, and just being Spider-Man. It also doesn't hurt that they picked a good actor to voice Peter. I think it's Yuri Lowenthal, but I can't say for sure because there hasn't been any confirmation on that just yet. At least that I can find.
I'd say more about it, but they really just gave us a teaser trailer for the game, and that's kind of why it got number 7 on the list. Some of you may not know this, but I loved Wind Waker. Being able to sail across the ocean, gathering treasure, pretending to be a pirate was an awesome experience. And thanks to the number 6 placeholder on this list, I get to be a real pirate. In the gaming world, at least.
Microsoft decided to showcase their new title, Sea of Thieves, by showing 2 teams of players boarding their respective ships, sailing across the sea, and eventually nailing each other with cannonballs. This game looks like it will be mostly, if not exclusively, a multiplayer experience. Sailing to new islands, having adventures, and battling other pirates alongside your shipmates who might not betray you. I'm not a huge fan of Microsoft when it comes to video games, but I can't wait to try this out. After all, I am a team player. If you find yourself sailing with me, you'll notice how I don't blow holes in our ship, neglect to fix leaks, or sink the ship entirely.
No! There's a ship to the left,
Oh my god.
They're going down, yeah! Let's go!
I don't cry easily. Movies don't make me cry, shows don't make me cry, anime can almost make me cry, but the sad reality is, I have no soul. That being said, The Last Guardian might make even this antisocial jerk shed a tear or two, considering it involves a big griffin-like animal named Trico, who seems to have had his wings burnt off. And seeing as I have 3 dogs whom I love very much, that punches me right in the feels. The Last Guardian centers around a young boy's relationship with Trico, and seems like it'll have a heavy emphasis on teamwork between the two. Made by the same developers as the atmospheric titles Ico and Shadow of the Colossus, this game looks like it will easily draw us in with its eerie environments and possibly sad narrative. And when you consider the fact that the endings to both Ico and Shadow of the Colossus were rather melancholy, it's not difficult to expect the same from The Last Guardian.
But Trico better not die at the end.
Set for release this October, I believe The Last Guardian will be an unforgettable journey.
Final Fantasy XV has been in development hell for quite some time. Thankfully though, at E3 this year, we finally got the release date of September 30th, 2016.
Oddly enough, I'm not as excited about this game as I thought I'd be, which is really weird considering I love open world games. Maybe it's the more modern setting to the game, or the fact that most of the gameplay demos I've seen just show the devs getting their butts handed to them by their own boss battles. Holy crap, that thing is huge! How the heck are we supposed to kill that thing? It's the size of a skyscraper. How are we supposed to kill any of these things? They look like death incarnate. I think putting this game on the list was a mistake, guys. I need to go back and... Hey, look. A flying car. That's awesome. What were we talking about? A long, long time ago, the evil Microsoft Corporation bought Rareware and all the wonderful characters that they created alongside Nintendo. After releasing a game that didn't do so well in the gaming community, Microsoft imprisoned 2 beloved Rareware characters, Banjo and his best friend, Kazooie. Sadly, it would seem that their fate is sealed and will never escape Microsoft's foul clutch. But there is still hope, for 2 new heroes have stepped onto the scene. At the number 3 spot, we have Ukulele. This spiritual successor to Banjo-Kazooie has received massive amounts of support since its reveal to the public, reaching $1 million in Kickstarter donations less than 24 hours after its announcement. With former Rare employees on board to help develop this gem, as well as Banjo and Kazooie's voice actor Chris Sutherland returning to do the voice of Yuka and Lele, we have a lot to look forward to. And on top of all the cool abilities this strange duo will have, there's talk of a move that may or may not include a giant fart bubble.
And if that doesn't get you excited to play it, I don't really blame you because that's kinda gross.
The best part about it, though, is that this game will be released on all current-gen consoles. So as long as you own one, you'll get to play it. Nobody gets left out.
Except for the people who don't own a current-gen console. Sorry. Nowadays, most post-apocalyptic stories, whether they be in movies, shows, or video games, tend to take the basic zombie or nuclear war approach. That being said, the number 2 placeholder looks like it will be a bit more creative with its story of mankind's fall from greatness.
In Horizon Zero Dawn, you play as Aloy, a young girl who seeks to find out the truth about the world. A world where robots run the show, and once grand cities have succumbed to nature. Humanity seems to have returned to a much more primitive way of life in this game, using bows and spears instead of guns. That being said, it looks like we'll still get to make use of some cool gear as we hunt down robots and salvage their parts to make new equipment. And it looks like the story and gameplay will involve these strange robotic beasts quite a bit, with them not only being enemies, but also potential mounts you can ride if you manage to hack into them. I'm also really curious about just what the heck happened that put the world into such a natural, yet unnatural state, and apparently, so is Aloy. Oddly enough, I didn't even know of this game's existence until a few months ago, despite it being shown off at E3 2015. But now that I have discovered it, I can't wait to play it. The world it takes place in looks beautiful, the battles look fun and strategic, and as mentioned earlier, it even has an engaging story. Needless to say, Horizon Zero Dawn will make my wallet scream in pain as I rip its green innards out and give them to the cashier.
Wake up, Link.
I have been waiting for this game for so long. I saw the reveal footage from E3 2014 on my laptop as I lay sick in bed. I squealed with joy as I watched Aonuma and Miyamoto show off some of the new gameplay at the Game Awards with the promise of a 2015 release, and then I cried myself to sleep every night for a month when they announced a delay in March of that same year. Like so many others, I was angered by their secrecy of the title, refusing to tell us anything about it, promising us a 2016 release only to announce yet another delay just a few months later. Fans grew impatient and began denouncing their faith in Nintendo like a bunch of little 5-year-olds who didn't get the last cookie.
And sadly, I was among them, although to a lesser extent.
But I began to get excited again when Nintendo confirmed that at E3 2016, they would finally be uncovering their plans for our sword-wielding hero. I was super hyped. When June 14th rolled around, I took the day off from work, bought a 6-pack of Ale 8, cooked a frozen pizza for myself, and sat down in front of my laptop to watch my destiny unfold.
And that's probably the reason I don't have a girlfriend.
As mentioned earlier, I have no soul. But once the trailer started, even my eyes began to well up with tears as I immediately forgave Nintendo for all the delays and secrecy. Not only did they show us some major gameplay footage, they finally gave us our title, The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
Name could have been better.
I kid you not though, seeing the game they've kept secret all this time makes me feel excited to play it, and ashamed for my doubt. This new adventure takes place in what may be a post-apocalyptic Hyrule, with dilapidated buildings overgrown with plants, and strange robots laying dormant in the ground. Mostly dormant, that is. We're not even given any explanation either. Link just wakes up in a strange chamber as a voice tells him to get a move on.
And by voice, I don't mean a random dialogue box coming from nowhere. I mean an actual voice that you can physically hear. Which is awesome as well as scary considering the only voice acting we've heard in Zelda has been...
Gee, it sure is boring around here.
My boy. All kinds of new features were shown off in the hours of gameplay they had at E3. From hunting to cooking to most notably, all the different weapons Link can use. No more must we be limited to just the sword as Link's main instrument of death. If you want to cut off a skeleton's arm and beat him to death with it, you most certainly can. We still haven't gotten an official release date yet, but after seeing what Breath of the Wild has to offer, I will wait patiently for my cookie, like a good little boy. And hey, it's got snow in it! Do you wanna build a snow?
Well, that's all the time we have for today. I know this is a bit late, but I'd like to wish you all a happy E3 just the same. And judging by all the great games we saw this year, it is indeed a great time to be a gamer. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have some crappy fan theories to read about Breath of the Wild. I'm Lightning Thief, and I'll see you guys next time.